Welcome to Almost Functional Gaming. We aim to help all followers of Russ and the Allfather to improve on the tabletop. List building, tournament recaps, unit reviews, weekly council of the Fang, and other tips to help us all go from almost functional to fully functional. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional score tracker on Amazon.
What up, guys? Welcome back to Almost Functional 40K. Here again with Aiden.
What is up, Matt? How's everybody doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing this week?
Slow week, but I'm doing well. I'm just kind of staying. We were talking about it before the show. I'm staring at my backlog of painting because I got the box set. I want to run 10 different units from the book, and I only have 2 painted up. So,
yep. And so you got some games in this week, huh?
Yeah, I got 1 or 2 games in, and that they went pretty well. I had some fun.
Yep. We do the Council of the Fang every Tuesday night at 6 p.m.
Yeah. What's up, Mike? Greetings from Germany. Glad to see you made it. That's awesome. I'm glad.
Yeah.
And Dwarham is also on again. Yeah, happy to see everyone in.
Yeah, I'm ready for bed too, so don't feel too bad. But yeah, so I played an RTT this weekend, but I'm still running old wolves for the next 2 weeks because of ATC. They're not allowing new wolves, so I got to keep getting reps with this list to be ready for the team event.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm ready to go all in on new wolves. I got 2 more videos coming out later in the week with Champions of Fenris and the Anvil Siege Force list. I was telling Aiden, we were talking, some of the guys talking about in the Space Wolf chat. I actually like that Champions of Fenris list more than I thought I would, so guys, keep your eyes out for that. It's not as bad as we thought it was.
That is insane. That is the words coming out of your mouth that you would play Champions of Fenris is insane.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm going to take a lot of these detachments we've built some of these crazy lists for and test them out with some RTTs and stuff. But
yeah,
that Champion Fenrir list, I think, actually might have a little bit of legs to it. But that'll be in the other video tonight. We're going to be doing an Ironstorm and a Beast Slayer list.
Yep. 2 lists that can do serious damage. I think both of these lists, they're not tricky. They're not technical. It is just all about killing your opponent, which is dope, which I love doing.
Yep, and that leaves next week will give us Gladius and Hunter, and then I'll also do a single Librarius list, and then we'll have them all out. And then the week after that, we'll do our ranking, and the book will be out and legal at that point. And
whoa! We got to pause here. Mike is saying, "Am I alone?" He's played 3 wolves. Great hunters are underrated in his opinion. Mike, please share what you're feeling, because so far, great hunters have been, I don't know. I haven't even put him in a list yet. We put him in 1 list for our Firestorm with Draxus, and that looked kind of good. I'm curious to hear what you have to say. But
they're in my Anvil list. My Anvil Siege Fort list has a squad of Grey Hunters.
What the hell?
There is a well, I'm not. Watch that video. There's some tech for Grey Hunters in Anvil Siege Force. But
I think I know that one.
Yeah. But all right, so with that being said, we'll go ahead and jump into our first one. We're going to start with Ironstorm. So let me read you guys through this real quick. So the army rule for Ironstorm is once per phase, for each Adeptus Astartes unit in your army, you can reroll 1 hit roll, 1 wound roll, or 1 damage roll made for a model that unit. So mini bold, but you don't have to achieve a saga for it. So
Yep. And it works all the time on any unit, shooting and fight phase, so it's quite good.
Yes, once per phase, yep.
Mm-hmm. This is really good on units that have a lot of big damage.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, and then enhancements are target Augury Web, which is Tech Marine model only. In your command phase, select 1 Adept Astartes vehicle model within 6 of the bearer. Till the start of your next command phase, weapons equipped by that vehicle model have lethal hits. Flesh is weak. Adept Astartes model only. The bearer has a feel no pain 4+ ability. Adept of the Omnissiah, Tech Marine model only. Once per battle round, when a saving throw is failed for a friendly Adept Starter's vehicle model within 6 of the bearer, you can change the damage to 0. And then Master of Machine, Adept Astartes model only. In your command phase, select one Adept Astartes vehicle model within 6 of the bearer. Until the start of your next command phase, that vehicle is able to shoot, even if it fell back or advanced.
Okay.
So, yep.
Pretty solid.
Yep.
Couple focused on damage, one focused on durability of vehicle, one focused on movement, falling back and shooting, advancing and shooting.
Yep. And then we'll look at the stratagems. We have Unbound Conviction, command phase, one Adept Astartes unit from your army that is below its starting strength. Till the end of the turn, your unit can ignore any or all modifiers to its characteristics and or any roll or test made for it. So that'll be useful other than your saves. So that'll be useful in some matchups where people are giving you minuses and stuff.
Yep.
Or if your tank is below its threshold to start getting -1 to hit on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Armor Contempt. Mercy is weakness. Your shooting phase or fight phase. One Adept Astartes unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets a unit that is below its starting strength, that attack has Sustained Hits 1 ability. And when making such an attack, if the attacking model is a vehicle, a successful unmodified hit roll of a 5-up scores a critical hit.
Ooh, now this is the money stratagem. You pair this with the lethal hits. You pick a vehicle, lethal hits, sustained hits, crit 5s.
Yep.
It gets really crazy.
Yep. And then we have Vengeful Animus. Basically, this lets you auto-explode your vehicle. Instead of rolling for deadly demise, you spend 1 CP and you auto-blow up.
Okay, could be good.
Yep. Ancient Fury, your command phase, one Adept Astartes Walker model from your army. Until the start of your next command phase, improve the model's move, toughness, leadership, and OC by 1. And each time your model makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll.
Okay, solid.
Yep. And then Power of the Machine Spirit. Your opponent's shooting phase just after enemy unit has resolved its attack. 1 vehicle unit from your army that was reduced to below half strength as a result of the attacking unit's attacks. Your unit can shoot as if it were your shooting phase, but must target only that enemy unit when doing so, and can only do so if that enemy unit is an eligible target.
Okay, all right.
So if one of your vehicles goes below half but survives, you can shoot back.
All right, what are you thinking about strats for this? I think there's one standout strat to me, a couple other decent ones.
Yeah, Mercy is weakness is probably the best one.
For sure.
What's the other one? The ignoring modifier, yeah, that's okay. Armor Contempt is good. The auto explode is situational, but nice to have. The Walker one, other than Bjorn, I don't really see a lot of Walkers in the list we're going to do. So that would be nice to give Bjorn extra toughness and stuff, but I don't know how much that's needed.
Right.
And then the shooting back one could be good.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's 2 pretty good ones in here. And then the detachment rule's okay. So as much as everybody's saying this Ironstorm is the way to build shooting wolves, there was some stuff in Anvil I really like too. So it's like I think you could go either way if you're building just a shooting wolf.
Anvil, Firestorm, Gladius, Beastslayer. I think all of them have really good shooting elements.
Yeah, but everybody's like, oh, Ironstorm specifically. But I'm like, after building the Anvil list earlier, I'm like, you know what? I might prefer that over this after reading through these.
Yeah. So talk to me. What are you thinking for Ironstorm?
I'm thinking all infantry, no vehicles, no Iron Priests.
What?
Oh, I mean, sorry, no.
Jesus.
Opposite of that.
Yes.
All right. So, yeah. So this list will start with 2 Iron Priests.
Iron Priests are the core of shooting for Space Wolves. They increase damage output so much.
Yeah. I still want to go 3, but I think we'll be reasonable and go 2.
Start with 2. Okay.
All right. So the enhancements will give, which the Tech Marine only wants to them. The damage 0, I think, is really nice. And then the other guy we will give, what was it? Master of Machine War? No. Target Augury Web. Yeah, that's the one. Give out lethal hits.
Okay.
So that makes those guys 95 and 90 instead of 60, but
Yeah, but these are worth it. These are why you take them.
Yep. So then vehicles, it's going to be a lot of these. I think we take at least one Ballistus,
Okay.
one Lancer, double Predator.
Very solid vehicles.
Yeah. Now we could take more than that and go really, but I don't. This is still a wolf list, so I still want to add some punch.
Yeah, you still want to add some wolves in there. So what are you thinking as far as like, those are all great vehicles. The one thing I would be curious about is repulsor executioners with rapid fire and lethal sustain 5s and reroll 1 wound roll. Kind of get really good. But Lancer is actually also just as good. Just less. Gets to reroll 1 extra wound and potentially damage, but you know.
Oh, we can't look. Sorry, this isn't. I was trying to look at his stats, but this isn't the GW app. Fortunately, this is the last app we have to use to build stuff for now.
Yeah.
But all right. So then we're gonna take Bjorn.
Okay, Bjorn's
good to have extra CP. It's a vehicle list. He benefits from the buffs. A one-shot gun, so getting 1 reroll on that is nice. You could rapid fire him. Putting lethals on those flamers for some overwatches and stuff could be like. There's just some stuff there with Bjorn.
Yeah, he really likes the rerolls, the Walker buff. Yeah, I could see him being in here. Also, you would want to spend Mercy's weakness pretty often, 2 CP. So if you want to spend that often, you want Bjorn.
Yep. And then I think we take Logan just because. Why don't you? That turn 1 deep strike and the. It's just so good. His unit's so hard to kill. And then...
Yeah, just some comments here. Brian's saying Bloodclaws and Grey Hunters good, but they may need transportation. They absolutely do. 10-mans walk up the board. Not necessarily best. Mike's talking about he likes Grey Hunters with 13-inch move with Njal to get OC on the point. Yes, they're fantastic. However, at the current points cost, it's tough.
Yeah. I don't think they make it into the Ironstorm left, but we'll see what Aiden does with Beast Slayer. But there's some thoughts I had on a list that has lots of that stuff in it. All right, so we got Logan with a squad of Termies. We'll make Logan Warlord just to make this thing go away. All right, so now it's green. So it leaves us almost 800 points. We got 1 combat unit, lots of good shooting. We need submission. So not going to be any surprise to anyone who watches us that I'm going to put in an infiltrator and a scout squad. That's pretty much my standard start of mission play in pretty much all my lists. So that leaves us, what's that? 625 points. So I don't really have this fleshed out. You have any thoughts here, Aiden? Oh, did I lose Aiden? All right, I don't know what happened to Aiden, but so I haven't. Some of the other lists I kind of had a fully set idea before we started it. This one I'm kind of doing on the fly. I do think we need a second combat unit. We could go Arjack and a second. A Canis Rex ally is always really nice, but for these we're building pure wolf lists. But yes, I like Canis Rex. I was running him a lot before heading up to ATC. I have a night player on my team, so I can't run him. But yeah, Canis Rex is really nice. I like Canis, but we're not. These are pure wolf lists we're working on right now, just because that's what we're trying to do. But no, Canis is good. So the question is, do we take another Terminator squad, or do we take a Head Taker squad? Or this being a vehicle detachment, do we take some Redemptors? Unfortunately, I think Redemptors are still a little overpointed, even in this detachment. So we will take. I think we take a Wolf Priest with some Head Takers. Oh, not Epic Heroes. Yeah, I really don't like this app, but it's what we have to use for now. So Wolf Priest. Oh, there he is. Welcome back, Aiden.
Yeah, sorry about that. Had a crazy storm happen. Power went out, but
All right, cool. So I'll get your thoughts here. We'll drop this guy. Oh, I hear this. I can hear that thunder. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a little nuts.
All right, so we got Bjorn. We added Logan with the Termies. We have all the shooting. We have one infiltrator, one scout. We've got about, what's that, 625 points left. So I don't have this fleshed out. And do you have any thoughts here? My one thought is I need at least one more combat unit.
Yeah, I think Logan and Terminators can kind of tie some stuff up. They'll get through things in probably 2 turns, but they're not necessarily going to be super damage heavy. I would say,
Christian's saying T-Cav. Yes, I definitely think some T-Cav to skirmish and hold people up to keep them off the shooting is not a bad idea.
Always quite good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So honestly, in this list, I think I might take 2 3-mans.
Yeah, I mean, 2 3-mans are kind of a staple in almost every list. We'll go through Beast Slayer, but it's kind of standard, stock standard. So 2 3-mans, you got about 400 points left. I would lean into more tanks. Get some more tanks in there. Put in I really do think Repulsor Executioner would be quite good.
All right, let's take a Repulsor Executioner. And we're going this many tanks. Do we take the 3rd Iron Priest? Are we that crazy?
How many tanks are we at right now? We'll get a Repulsor Executioner in there. What are we looking at?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5 tanks, 2.
And Bjorn. 5 and Bjorn.
5 and Bjorn. I think 3 Iron Priest. Iron Priest is so cheap. He does actions. Yep. He's alone up.
And this will be, and here, duplicate. All right. But so he can't have the same enhancement. But this guy we give Master of the Machine War, I believe it was. So now a vehicle could fall back and shoot near him.
Mm-hmm. Logan, we're going through Ironstorm right now. We're going to do Saga of the Beast Slayer in a minute. But yeah, this is going to be all damage all the time.
Yeah. So that leaves us 125 points.
Okay. Hammer Strike. Hammer Strike is fantastic for a 125. Moves fast, flies, has a lot of shots, loves rapid fire, loves reroll. Yeah, right. Hammer Strike is an incredible just shooting piece to add in there.
Did I miss it?
Storm Speed or Hammer Strike?
Storm. All right, I was looking for an H. All right, so we'll go to S's.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Storm, Speeder, Hammer Strike. That puts us at 2,000 points.
Quite good.
Yeah, so we got 1 Terminator squad. So we only have 1 real combat unit. Thunderwolves are okay, but they're more of a skirmish. Bjorn can a little bit. So I think they're more of a counterpunch. You just kind of keep stuff off your shooting and just kind of try to kill most of their stuff and then push for just like if they come for problem, you keep your expansion, shoot them off the middle because most of the time the middle objective's open, and then late game push once they kind of run out of stuff.
Yeah. I'm wondering, yeah, I think that's enough counterpunch. We've got a lot of skirmish, Bjorn and Logan. The CP economy is good. You can be vecting stuff. And you have a boatload of shooting. So you can be really aggressive with like the hammer strike and the ballistas early on, back it up with some predators. And
personally, I'd like to have 1 more combat unit in here just to support Logan when we do push, but
I'm wondering what combat unit is good in Ironstorm.
None of them are good in Ironstorm, but some of the Wolf units are just good in everything.
Yes, absolutely. Head takers with Wolf Priests are good. Wolfen with Storm Shields are all good. They're pretty solid into most things. That's not, I would say Wolfen with Storm Shields do pretty damn good.
Yeah, the only thing with Wolfen with Storm Shields is we're not going to have a problem killing big stuff in this list.
That's totally true. That's totally true.
So I would want something with more attacks.
Yeah.
So either bump one of these Thunderbolts up to 6 or take like Arjak and his squad or a head taker squad with somebody just so Logan has support when you do need to push a little bit out in the middle and actually fight.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't hate Arjack. Drop the ballistas for a combat unit. Yeah, maybe one of the vehicles in a Thunderwolf squad for a combat unit. You want to be able to swing into everything. To me, I think Wolf Priest and Head Takers would be pretty solid because they get plus
that
one
was
to
my
wound.
thought. Before you came back, that's what I was about to put in was a Wolf Priest and some Head Takers.
Yeah,
so that's the options: Wolf Priest with Head Takers or Arjack squad, because you can still Deep Strike Logan 1 and then rapid Arjack to put that pressure on. But this is a more defensive list. You have that Head Taker squad there with Logan too. And since this is a Marine list, we could even go old school Judicar Blade Guard.
Judicar Blade Guard is fine. They do okay damage.
Just that fight first is like it's because hopefully your vehicles are killing big stuff. This would kill little stuff that's coming in to try to tie up your line.
Right. Yeah.
So those are the three thoughts. So yeah, Arjack, Wolf Priest, or Judicar. What's your thought on those three? What would you think?
I would say Wolf Priest with Takers. They do a little more damage than Judicar. Fight first isn't going to be too big of a problem, I think.
Yeah. All right. So Head Takers, and I think we go the 6-man. And then we add the Wolf Priest.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and so that puts us. We need to drop 240 points. Yeah, so that would be the Ballistas and 1 Thunderwolf squad exactly. So that actually works out.
Works out pretty good.
Yeah. So I always like to add them in first and see how many points I need to drop. Boom, and that puts us at 2,000. So we still got the 3 Iron Priests. We got a Lancer, 2 Annihilators, the Hammer Strike, the Repulsor Executioner, and Bjorn with 3 Iron Priests. So that's like you're shooting everything with the Infiltrators to actually on this list you could almost push them up a little bit. Have one of your Tech Marines back holding the back, buffing the vehicles from there. Depending on what you're playing, you got your Scouts. So you got a little bit of mission play. Your Tech Marines can do some stuff like some recovers and stuff.
Actions.
You got one Thunderwolf unit that can skirmish or possibly do midfield stuff. And then you got 2 combat units, the Head Takers with the Wolf Priest and the Logan and his squad.
Very solid. This list would hurt to go against. It is just so much shooting that just hurts, man. Like all of these rapid fire rerolls everywhere. The one thing I would add, though, would consider this is a really heavy shooting list. You only have 1 oath target. I might consider if you can squeeze 10 points here or there, switching the Scout Squad to a Incursor Squad, because it kind of gives you a second oath target that you can choose in the middle of the shooting phase. The Incursors Scout, they have assault guns, they have okay combat, they have a haywire mine, and they give +1 to hit and shooting. So
the Scouts, I like them as a sacrificial unit. They normally score me points early and die. So I'd hate to lose the Scouts. We can maybe turn the Infiltrators into Incursors and gain 20. Because I don't know what else to drop here.
Yeah, all of it's pretty good.
Yeah, there's Bjorn, Logan. But yeah, unless we drop the vehicle, but then at that point we wouldn't need the 3rd Iron Priest, and now we're really freeing up points. But I think we like all these vehicles.
Yeah, vehicles are great.
I
would love +1 to hit in the shooting phase. Would be a really solid, because you only get 1 oath, and sometimes hitting on 3s, or if your opponent smokes, it's hitting on 4s. You get to reroll 1 of them. It's just not good enough.
That's the
enhancement. Yeah,
that's the downside of dropping the Ballistas, because it basically has its own oath against stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
So which enhancement should we drop? Should we drop the lethal, the 0 damage, or the ability to fall back, advance, and shoot?
I think the ability to fall back, advance, and shoot, because if something touches you, you can just point your guns down and just obliterate it. Extra movement's nice, but your opponent, it's only in one corner of the board. Like your opponent's going to know, okay, one of these two vehicles can advance and shoot or fall back and shoot. Sometimes you can't necessarily. Let me see how that's worded.
Yeah, and it's only 20 points, so that's not really giving us much.
You could do so. Let's see. You get 20 points from the.
Yeah, so if we drop the Infiltrator and Cursors, drop that enhancement, we could take one Fenrisian Wolf Squad.
Which could be fine for screening actions, doing.
Yeah, that's another little screening unit I wouldn't hate with this much vehicle stuff.
Yeah,
so we'll drop that.
You have a lot of vehicles that want to go forward.
Yeah, because most of our vehicles don't really have blasts, so other than be able to move to get better shots, we don't really lose a lot being engaged other than the -1 to hit, but we have a strat to potentially ignore that, and Incursors getting +1 could help. All right, so Incursors. But yeah, this is where Incursors shine in the shooting list. And then we'll add in one squad of Fenrisians. All right, I like that a lot better.
Perfect. Yep. Better screening. And again, I like the Incursors because can really guarantee that your shooting is more consistent.
And they still scout, I believe, so they can't infiltrate, but they can still get to a decent spot.
Exactly. They're going to have assault, so they can scout 6, move 6, advance, and then also shoot and give +1 to hit. They're very solid in a shooting list. I would take them if you have a good amount of shooting.
Yep. All right. So that's it for the Ironstorm list. I feel pretty solid with that. I don't think too many people would want to sit down across the table from that.
No, that is just nasty.
All right. So with that being said, we are going to roll into a Beast Slayer list.
While you're setting that up, I'll read the Beast Slayer rules.
Yes, please.
It's kind of the first go-to when I started the book. So each time a Stardust model from your army makes an attack against a character, monster, vehicle unit, you get lethal hits. This is shooting and melee. If you have completed your saga, you get lethal hits all the time on every attack. The saga is you have to kill half of your opponent's character, monster, vehicle units. You count at the start of the game of the battle. So right off the bat, this gives an incredible damage buff. It's essentially lethal hits all the time, just to your whole army shooting in melee. I don't think there's any other. There's very few ways to get lethal hits in shooting, especially for good Space Marine shooting, which is the tanks. You notice that you pay 1 enhancement to get 1 lethal hits on 1 unit in the Ironstorm, but you just get lethal hits all the time here, which is kind of crazy. We'll go through the enhancements. There is Wolf Touch, which is one of my favorite enhancements from the book. +2 move, and it can join to Wolfen or Wolfen with Storm Shields. That's a Space Wolf model only. Next one's Hunter's Guile, which is an Adept Starter's model. You can redeploy 3 Thunderwolf, Cav, Wolfen, or Blood Claws. And you can put them in a strat reserve, which is kind of good also. Elder's Guidance, a Space Wolf unit with the Blood Claws. You get +1 AP once per battle. Yeah. There's Helm of the Beast Slayer, which is an Adept Starter's model. Each time an attack by a character, monster, vehicle model targets the bearer's unit, reduce the AP by 1. It's kind of worse than you think it is because it's only character, monster, vehicle models, not necessarily units. Strats. 1 CP in the fight phase, Space Wolf units, +1 to wound. I like this because it's not Lance. If you are already in combat, there's a number of ways to already be in combat. Just getting +1 to wound, just for no, like you don't have to charge. There's no caveat, just +1 to wound. Fantastic. Shock Cavalry, 1 in your movement or charge phase. Thunderwolf Cavalry can move through or charge through models and 4 inches pieces of terrain. Terrain's irrelevant, but Thunderwolf Cavalry being able to move or charge through models is pretty good, especially because you want them to be move blocking them is a great way to mitigate them from doing anything. So being able to move through models or charge through models is very powerful. Pinning Fire, 1 CP, you choose an Adept to start a unit in your shooting phase. After you shoot, you pick a character, monster, vehicle unit. They get -2 move and charge for the turn, for the whole game turn. That's all really situational. There's a couple you can kind of tech into it, but we'll talk about that. It's kind of not good. 1 CP reactive move on any unit. If it's D6 reactive, or if it is a Space Wolf infantry or Thunderwolf cavalry, it's flat 6. I love reactive moves. Always amazing. Goes really well with the next strat, which is a Blood Surge, Impetuosity. 1 CP in your shooting phase, your opponent's shooting phase, after they select targets. A Wolf and Infantry or Blood Claw unit, if they lost a model, they get to Blood Surge D6 and get into engagement range. The timing of this and the wording of the strat's kind of weird. Blood Surge in general is amazing. It makes your opponent really have to play around. You get a lot more movement, a lot more like control of the board. The problem is you have to just declare the strat before they shoot, and they have to kill a model. So it's kind of weird wording on this Blood Surge. There's no other Blood Surge like this. Last one is Coordinated Strike. End of your opponent's fight phase, a Space Wolf unit wholly within 9 inches of a battlefield edge and not within engagement range, get to go back and strat reserve. This one's not really that good. I haven't really found a use for it. You can put stuff back into reserve, but then you come in, you only have a 9-inch charge. Space Wolf keyworded units don't have a lot of shooting. Yeah, Saga the Beast Slayer. This is detachment that leans in on damage, shooting damage and melee damage. You can go a couple different ways with this. I think you can go really shooting heavy. You can go really damage heavy. What I'm going to try to do here is I really want to go MSU. I think one problem with Beast Slayer, you have no way to advance in charge and no way to fall back in charge unless you have it on your data sheet like Ragnar or Blood Claws. You kind of have movement problems, and you also kind of have problems if you don't kill stuff you're engaged with. One of the ways to do that is to just kill stuff you're engaged with, or have units that you're willing to just sacrifice them. They're so small they don't really matter. So I really want to build a list without Logan, but he's so good. He's going in every list. Let's start with Logan.
Yeah, that deep strike is so good. Oh, there we go.
The Vectora, the turn 1 reserves is really solid. It gets you so much board space. It controls so much primary. It's so good.
And just the unit that joins him is just good naturally to begin with. So it's like it's hard
incredible.
Not to take
having such a durable unit start in mid board with Vec turn 1. It just puts your opponent so far on the back foot in terms of getting board space. Gosh, I really want to build a list without Logan and 5 Terminators, but that unit is just so good. It changes the dynamic of the game. Logan and 5 Terminators. So let's put in 5 Terminators with Logan. And one of the problems I found with Logan and 5 Terminators is they do okay damage. They don't really do amazing damage unless you have ways to buff it. However, Beast Slayer, you get lethals and +1 to wound for a CP. Yep. So now you actually really don't want to tangle with that unit because they're just lethal hits +1 to wound almost all the time if you want. Just makes that unit really scary.
Yep. And we always take the Relic Axe on the Sergeant and 4 shields. We don't worry about the Assault Cannon. Although in Beast Slayer, do you want those 6 shots? No?
Yeah, 6 shots with lethal dev wounds. It's always interesting, but no, you always go melee.
Yeah.
Here's where I think you can get kind of interesting. One of my good friends was showing me talking about regular Wolfen, not Shield Wolfen. His name is Josh Gonzalez. He was talking about how people are sleeping on regular Wolfen. I think this is one of the attachments where regular Wolfen can be really scary. Let me walk you through what they have. So regular Wolfen, they're just T6 4 up. They're Marines. They're 17 points a model. So they're a little expensive, but they, T6 Marines, they don't have a 3-up save, they have a 4-up save. They move 9, so they've got good movement. They have built-in reroll 1s to hit, built-in sustained, 3 attacks at 5/2/2. So automatically, they don't need Oath. They have a lot of attacks. They are very reliable. It doesn't matter if they're charging. Doesn't matter if they have Oath. They're just going to get a lot of 5/2/2 attacks through. They're strength 5, so they actually absolutely love lethals from this detachment. Being able to get lethal sustained just on every attack almost all the time. Rerolling 1s to hit all the time. Very solid. They also have special rules. So each time an enemy unit, excluding monster and vehicle, tries to fall back, it's a desperate escape. It's really powerful when you kill a unit, touch another unit, and then, oh my gosh, I've got to kill this wolfen unit. Let me fall back while I lose a half to a third of my unit just falling back just to shoot this wolfen unit. So the cool thing about this detachment also is the reactive move Blood Surge strat. I know in Stormlance, people that played Stormlance love to reactive move Blood Surge Thunderwolf Cavalry, and that was just really good. The kind of sad part was that Thunderwolf Cavalry without charging and without Oath didn't really do any damage. This is not the case. So Claw Wolfen do pretty crazy damage. I was mathing it out on Unit Crunch. Say you Blood Surge into a Rhino, 5 Claw Wolfen, like without Oath, on your opponent's turn, Blood Surging a Rhino, 5 Claw Wolfen with lethal sustain reroll 1s. You give him +1 to wound on any turn. Kill a Rhino like over 70% of the time without Oath, just with the CP. Just 5 of them. It's 85 points. This unit does a lot more damage than you think it does.
On the 5-man, they don't have an invul, right? So there's a 4-up save. They're relying on that T6.
T6, right. Yeah. So I want to add. So I'm
saying that's why I was wondering about with the Blood Surge. If somebody shot something at them, I mean, how many? There might not be a lot of them to Blood Surge back.
Right. So I want to. This is just kind of experimental.
Yeah.
I want to try out 2 units of 10 Claw Wolfen.
Oh, 10-mans. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're saying MSU, I thought you were going to take some 5s. Sorry, 10-man. That's
5-mans are great, but 10-mans I think absolutely slam.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. If you take a 5-man with only a 4-up save and they get shot, there's not much there. But a 10-man, that's a little harder for them to dig through.
Yes. People talk about head takers with Wolfguard Battle Leader, lethal sustain reroll 1s, and then potentially +1 to wound. They're like, oh my gosh, these double weapon head takers do so much damage, lethal sustain reroll 1s and +1 to wound. These Wolfen just have all of that all the time without a leader. So you're saving that many points. They're roughly about the same durability.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take 2 Iron Priests because they're good shooting. We're going to take 2 Predator Annihilators because the Predator Annihilators are just mathematically the best shooting that we have, especially with lethals. One of those Iron Priests, here's a little cute thing. One of those Iron Priests is going to have Hunter's Guile. You think about this, Hunter's Guile is kind of interesting. It's just a redeploy. Thunderwolf Cavalry, Wolfen, or Bloodclaws. So the thing you can do with Hunter's Guile, we're also going to be taking 2x3 Thunderwolf Cavalry as skirmishers. They're just fantastic skirmishers. You should take them in every list. One of the things you can do with Hunter's Guile is that you can deploy really conservatively. You can then redeploy the Thunderwolf Cavalry pretty much on the line. Because they don't have advancing charge, they want to be really far forward. They're durable enough that they can take some moderate shooting and still be good. This kind of like throws off your opponent as well. The other thing that you want to do is put a Wolfen squad, that 10-man in reserve, bring them in on your opponent near your opponent's expansion, turn 1, go for a 9-inch charge. If you make it fantastic, they're going to do a lot of damage. They're going to touch a lot of stuff. It's going to fall back, cause a lot of mischief. But one thing that I learned with Blood Surge and Reactive Move, they can control so much primary space. Say you get a, layout 1, you get to bring in your Wolfen to near your opponent's expansion, turn 1. They fail their charge, but they're sitting there. One thing that your opponent is not going to want to do is move up onto his expansion to then get reactive move and then Blood Surge into with these Wolfen. That's something that you really want to be aware of. Like I said, 10 Wolfen will kill almost anything. 5 Wolfen will kill every skirmish unit that you are thinking of, except for maybe Thunderwolf Cavalry. So you can be really aggressive with this first Wolfen squad. The second Wolfen squad can be a really great rapid ingress threat.
And just in case anybody's wondering, they're coming in turn 1 because of Logan.
Because of Logan, correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody's like, you can't come in turn 1. That's why you always take Logan. You have that ability.
So we're at 1230 points. We've got some skirmish. We want to take some, of course, some of the backfield stuff, some of the backfield unit, and then a scouting unit or infiltrating unit. So you can kind of go for more damage, which would mean probably a lieutenant with combi weapon to give you reroll 1s on an objective. It'd be a good scouting unit, infiltrating unit. He has a reactive move. You have reactive moves elsewhere. So when you have a lot of reactive moves, you can really throw your opponent off.
Yep.
Here's an idea. I'm just throwing it out there. Your backfield units, usually infiltrators, usually intercessors, but I'm curious, what do you think about taking an indirect piece for your backfield?
I tried that in the game. I ran a Whirlwind, and I've had a friend who's been running Ballistas, or not Ballista, Desolation Squads. I don't hate it. I don't like how many points they are right now.
Yes.
But being able to have a little Eldar guy has just a little unit back on their thing, or just like you, people put a scout squad or an intercessor squad back there and just picking it off, like, it's not the worst thing. And it's going to cost you around 200 points, but...
Yeah. So here's how I think about it, especially in Beastslayer. You're already paying 80 to 100 points for your backfield. If you add 100 points on top of that for a Whirlwind or a Desolation Squad, you are just adding damage. It's like 100 points. You're paying essentially 100 points for that unit. You know what I mean? That can then fire. Normally, I wouldn't take this, but there's one really interesting combination that can shut down opponent's melee really well. I tried this in a couple of games. It was cute. But it actually did, again, control space, which is really powerful. Pinning fire. You can, if you know your opponent's going to go next turn, you can shoot that indirect at a character or vehicle or monster unit. 1 CP, it's -2 move and charge. Normally, that's kind of annoying, but with a -2 move and charge with a reactive 6, that actually makes your opponent have to. Like it can turn your opponent moves to outside of an inch of you. It's a 1 inch charge. You ought to make it on a 2 because you're -2 charge. You make it on a 3, but because you can move 6 inches away, you make it on a 2 or something. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, you make it on a 3. You can move 6 inches away. It would be like an 8 inch charge.
Yep. Now the reactive is an auto 6.
Is a flat 6 for a Space Wolf Infantry or Thunderwolf Cav.
That is so good.
So I think here's
so basically between the 6 inch move and the -2 move, you're adding 10 inches to what they are trying to do.
Exactly. It can totally shut down your opponent's, like one of your opponent's key piece or your opponent's key piece. I think it's a little tricky. I'm not going to expect the indirect to do damage, but with lethals, actually also still could do some damage.
Well, depends on if you take the Whirlwind, it actually does a decent amount of damage. It just has D6 +3 or +1 or whatever it is. Whereas the Desolation get more shots, but they're not as high strength or AP.
Yeah, I would lean towards a Whirlwind because it's more durable and Desolation Marines just look so dumb. Oh my God.
They do. My only thought is like you can sit there indirect when you need to step out with that crack missiles and have that just light into something. They are 10 points more, but I do like the word. It's more durable. It's higher strength, AP, and damage.
Yeah, let's throw it in there. I don't think we'll see if that pinning fire is actually going to matter. But again, like say your opponent has like Talgar or 6 Sanguinary Guard with a captain, or like who knows, Carnivore, or I don't know. The Lion or Angron, you shoot at it, you do 0 damage, but you completely neuter their ability to charge. That absolutely shuts down that unit for 1 CP.
True. And hit it with the Iron Priest. Now it gets 1 extra shot on the whirlwind shot if somebody's hiding turn 1 and you can't get shots with anything else.
Could be funny. Yeah. So we have some shooting in here. We've got a good amount of melee. What would you add to this list?
All right, so the Predators do in your backfield. Did we take scouts so we still need a midfield like scouts or infiltrators or something to infiltrate?
I think we got a lieutenant with combi weapon, but you can share them out for scouts.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, or you can do both. But yeah, that's true. You got him. Because you got the reactive move. He doesn't have the scout, but he has the reactive. So and he's blown up.
Yeah. You could go for fun, like 10 Storm Shield Wolfen with Battle Leader with Wolf Touch. You could go for, Wolfguard Head Takers with a Battle Leader, or because they would love lethals and +1 wound sustained.
Well, you know what also loves lethals? A unit that can put out 70 attacks a turn.
Are you thinking Grey Hunters?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Are you thinking Grey Hunters?
Grey Hunters or Bloodclaws. That's a lot of attacks.
So here's the thing, actually.
No, Logan and Terminators are already in Dakota.
I don't hate trading one of the Thundercab for a 10-man Bloodclaw. Just skirmishing, honestly. They'll do less damage. They'll still do good damage, but they have a Blood Surge. They have Advance and Charge. You can redeploy them. They can go through walls. So that's what I would do just for fun, because I don't like. Let's switch it up a little bit. So let's change out one of those Thunderwolf Cavalry units for a Bloodclaw unit.
All
right. Dakota's asking Logan and Terminators. Yep, we've got Logan and Terminators. That is kind of the backbone of a lot of lists.
No, there's no Bjorn in this yet.
No Bjorn. I don't think this. Yeah.
Yeah. How CP reliant are you going to be in this list? Just teching into just multiple attacks and just letting the army rule kind of carry you?
It's a good question. Yeah. I mean, I think we want to lean into all damage in this list. So I would love more damage. We could go more shooting damage. We could go more melee damage. We could go a Ballistus with lethals and rerolls. Loves is incredible. It's okay damage. You could go repulsors and go. Yeah, Incursors. Again, I love Incursors when you have a lot of shooting. Sustain and lethals on melee, and they get lethals on their shooting. They get +1 to hit in their shooting. It all depends. I mean, I think kind of the world is your oyster with this list.
If we're going teching into lethals, what just gives us the most attacks, like in combat or shooting? That's still actually pretty decent attack. Like you could go double-bladed head takers.
Yeah,
possibly in a transport.
Let's do that. Let's do double paired weapon head takers in an impulsor with a Wolfguard Battle Leader. I think that is pretty solid.
Battle Leader, yep. So now, so 6 attacks with sustained. That's teching into the
sustained and lethals and reroll 1s. You get +1 to wound. They get dev wounds and precision if they're going against their quarry.
Sustained and lethal. What do you think this is? Champions of Russ?
It is Champions of Russ. Everything has sustained and lethals, pretty much.
Yep. And then we want a Battle Leader for them.
Battle Leader for them, and then an Impulsor.
Yes. One nice thing is a lot of our characters and stuff, you can just scroll to the bottom to find them when you're going through these lists.
Because they're all W.
Everything's Wolfguard, yep.
Wolfguard, Wolfen, yeah.
Yep. All right, Impulsor. All right, that leaves you 160 points.
Okay. You can go for another tank. I wouldn't hate that.
You know what tank is 160 points?
It's a Lancer.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Lancers are great. I do find Predator Annihilators absolutely the best shooting, but you need to be within 24.
Yep. Yeah, because sometimes that turn 1, giving that Lancer the 3 shots when they're hiding, and you can only draw a line to one thing.
Exactly. Let's throw a Lancer in there. Why not? All right. More shooting. You could go maybe a unit of Thunderwolf Cavalry and 6 Head Taker Wolves or 5 Fenrisian Wolves, whatever you want. I think this is fine.
Or Thunderwolf Cab and an ATV there, because he's exactly 60. Or at 160 points, you could take Squad of Reavers and Outrider. Like 80 point is like, there's a lot of options. 80 points. When you have 160, that's where you really have like 140, 130. Like you don't have any at 160. Splitting it to 80, like there's so many options at 160 for just Marines in general.
Yeah, as Christian was saying, heavy intercessors maybe sustaining lethals on the heavy bolters, 30 inches on the 2 damage weapons. So that's another thing. Like you give lethals to shooting, all of a sudden random shooting units get really good.
And their battle line, how many points are they? 110?
100 for 5, and you get like 11 2 damage heavy bolter shots equivalents, and a couple of them have sustained. But I think at that point you do want a hammer strike because you are leaning into you're kind of leaning into shooting more at that point. AP1 is not cutting it unless you ignore cover. So I think at that point you probably want a hammer strike. But I mean, you could switch out the Thunderwolf Cavalry and the Blood Claws and some of the other shooting for a bunch of heavy intercessors running around with a hammer strike. Just advancing onto objective, having a bunch of OC and durability, just really messing up with the primary and shooting with lethals, ignoring cover. You kind of open up a lot of options when your whole army has lethal hits.
Yeah. So, that's the thing about Wolves. 1 are detachments, 2 are data sheets. Everything is so good. A lot of these, like, you could take like the first little core of the list and everything else could really be exchanged for something else and still be viable and good, just tailored to someone else's play style.
Absolutely. So this list is a bit of a mix of shooting and melee, which I love. I love a good mix of shooting and melee. You could definitely go more melee heavy. You drop a Lancer and maybe 1 Iron Priest. Then you lean into maybe more Head Takers, or you could go Shield Wolfen, or you could go more Terminators. Terminators are actually really good. You could do Arjack and Terminators. You could do even Blade Guard with Fights First and Lethals. You could do so many options get opened up when you have lethals. Quite good. Eradicators are great with lethals. They get rerolls. Hogfather's got a good question. Yeah, Bolter Inceptors get really good. I mean, even like Predator Destructors, there's just so many units that get really good with lethals.
I don't know if they're actually going to hit the Predator because I've been using it in Old Wolves, and it's really not, it's just not the same. I think our Iron Priest might be who gets hit.
I think
either in his ability or in his points. As much as I joke about it, like we're going to get the Predator jacked up for everybody, I think they're going to hit Wolves specifically.
Yeah. I kind of agree. Iron Priests are really the problem data sheet. I could see them going up. I
can see them going up to 85, 90 points, and we're still going to take them.
Still take them. You still take 1 or 2.
Yep. You just maybe drop a squad of Fenrisian Wolves or something to make up for them.
Yeah.
We're a couple in hand. Like we're going to lose a unit out of the army, but we're not going to stop taking Iron Priests.
Right. Totally. So that's the list.
Oh, I like it. So today, it's funny. Today we built 2 really, really, well, 1 really, really shooty, another halfway shooty. Pretty shooty lists compared to what we've been building, I think.
Totally. I really, Ironstorm can bring so much shooting damage. It's crazy. Beast Lair can bring so much melee and shooting damage. It's also crazy.
Yeah, it buffs everything. So you can really go, half and half, all combat, all shooty. Whatever you want to do with that detachment. It's very versatile.
Totally.
All right. Well, that's our 2 lists. Next week, we're going to do Gladius and Hunter, and that'll be the last of the list because I'll do Librarius later this week, and I've already got Anvil and Champions of Fenrir scheduled to release on the channel. The videos have been made, but they're going to release later in the week. So any other questions, thoughts, anything else you got? We got about 9 minutes till our hour mark. That's normally where we try to get to. We don't mind going over a little bit, but we try not to go way past it. But
yeah, we kind of lean this into some damage today. I think Hunter and Gladius will be a little bit more movement and some damage, which is good.
Well, I find in Wolves, the new Wolves, like our combat is okay, does okay damage, but our units are survivable. Like our damage comes with Iron Priest buffing shooting is like where like our scary damage comes from.
Yeah, I think that is a really strong archetype. Is good shooting with durable units in front. I think that is a very strong archetype. You see that in Guard, you see that in Death Guard, you see that in other Marine chapters. Just like really durable units that are battling over the midfield with good shooting backed up by it. So, I mean, you can get that in so many different detachments. It's quite good.
Yep. And yeah, this is one of the few lists that didn't get Bjorn.
I have been leaning away from Bjorn.
Yep.
He is just solid all around. The CP is good, but in attachments where you're not necessarily leaning into CP heavy, you don't necessarily need him.
Yep. Yep. As soon as I see the attachment starting having 2 CP strats, I'm like, all right, I got to take Bjorn in this one.
Now Bjorn's got to go in.
Yeah, but yeah, you don't always have to. Just like even in bold, people say you could try Skjold on a character to get a couple. So you'll probably lose 1 or 2 CP over the game, but you'll still get 3-ish, I would guess. And you can still use the option to discard cards and get them. So as much as I like to say Bjorn's auto take, he's not, because you can still find other ways to get CP with cards and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just like him as a nice little backfield anchor.
What do you think our auto tech units are? I mean, you kind of can see the pattern as we've been building these lists, but I'm curious what you think.
I'd say Logan, just because that first turn deep strike, either on him or bringing something else in, depending on how you build the list, is just so good. Then you add the durability of him and the Turbinators, and then Vect on top of that. It's just that combo together. It's hard to not put that in a list. Plus, his model is so freaking cool now.
Yeah,
and we were taking Logan in every list before because of his howl. So it's like you take Logan in every list, last in the index and now. It's just his rule's always good.
He's absolutely 100% include. He changes the matchup in so many matchups because he's such a durable vector that can be mid board on turn 1. It's incredible.
Him, and then at least 1 Iron Priest, so yeah, at least some shooting. Most lists get 2, but at least 1 Iron Priest, and then what you pair them with is up to you. Annihilator's good, Ballistic's good, Lancer good. Right now, Annihilator's best option, but so those are the 2 auto includes. A second combat unit I find is an auto include, but which is it? Arjack? Is it a big Thunderwolf squad, big Wolfen squad, head takers? What that second or third, depending on how you're building the list, is can vary. So like you want to take a second, if not third combat unit, but what it is not guaranteed.
It is absolutely not. And this is the headache I have in my building and painting, because you can build a really solid Wolfguard Terminator unit. You can build a really solid Head Taker unit. You can build a really solid Wolfen unit. You can build a really solid Wolfen with Storm Shield. You can build a really solid Thunderwolf. So it's like we have like 6 different options for really good melee. Like and so I'm just like my head is spinning trying to build and paint stuff. It's
well, that point because it's changing play style slightly, but I don't think any one over the other really makes the list worse or better. It just plays a little different. So whatever one feels better to you, or whichever one you like the lore of, you like the look of the unit, go into that because you'll enjoy that more because they're all viable.
Yeah. So Christian is saying, I love this idea. I love unique ideas. He's saying Cody has attached to Battle Line instead of Bjorn. He's like Grey Hunters, ignore cover within 18 inches. Oh, maybe attach him to Grey Hunters. Gives to ignore cover within 18 inches, a 6++, and surprise, strength 9, AP3, 3 damage, hammer, and anti-infantry 5-up, dead wound shooting. Also, he's got a really cool ability. Anytime your opponent gains a CP on a 2-up, you gain a CP. So if your opponent has Bjorn, 2-up, you're also Bjorn.
Yes, I think that's what he's saying. Instead of Bjorn, take Crozius to try to get the CP. And now you attach him to that Grey Hunter or that Bloodclaw squad.
Very solid. Draxus is also really fun. We talked about a Firestorm list with Draxus attached to battle to Grey Hunters.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not as up on the Imperial Agents. I need to read through that book some more because I missed some of that stuff. Like, I don't know exactly all these little combos. Like, I'm so wolf centered most of the time. It's like, oh, we have allies. Like, Until I took Canis that one time just because I got the model from somebody and I'm like, oh, I like this. And I started doing Canis, but it's like, I normally don't think outside wolves. I'm like, wolves.
Wolves.
Yeah. But honestly, I don't hate that. You want to send the Blood Claws or Greyhounders into combat, and now you got that extra. We love damage 3 in Space Wolves.
Damage 3 is great. Ignoring cover is good. Extra CP, also very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Feel No Pain, good. Dev Wound on a 5-up on a 3 damage hammer.
Quite powerful.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, that's our 2 lists for the night. Like I said, we'll finish this series up next week, and then the week after we'll do the tier list of all the detachments, and then that's true. You cannot trust the Inquisition. But so that's it for tonight. Thank you, Aiden, as always.
Pleasure. Having a great time.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys, and we will catch you next time.
All right.
Thank you for watching Almost Functional Gaming. We appreciate the support of all followers of Russ and the Allfather. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, check out our merch store and Almost Functional score tracker on Amazon. Everything helps support the growth of this channel, and we appreciate it.